Well, it's a pleasure for me to be sitting here, man. I remember when I first got home for my mission in 2002, 2003. You were the star player at BYU, and we had a couple of fun years there. You took off right away, and you ended up becoming an NBA draft pick, second rounder. But I want to back up because Travis, you were known for a lot more than just your basketball playing career, but you set up a very successful business career. And the reason why I wanted you on the show is because it's very rare to find somebody that's had as much success as you have, both in the entrepreneur, the charity aspect, and in a sport. So first off, pleasure to be here with you, man.
You're super nice. Happy to be here. Happy to be part of the Jimmy Rex podcast, man. I've heard a lot about it. I'm excited.
Well, it's fun for me. Again, you were the first player that, when I got back from my mission, I was so excited. In fact, I drove through the night to Denver for your guys' first round game against Syracuse. I think, was that your junior year?
Yep.
And it was a heck of a game. That one guy hit 9 3-pointers or whatever. But you guys were just a fun team to watch, man. You got a lot of, back then was when Eminem was at its peak, and you were kind of the Eminem of BYU.
Yeah, I had blonde hair before Eminem, so he kind of followed me. But yeah, it came with a lot of nicknames and Elder 8 Mile, but it was fun. Fans could be relentless, but they also were pretty cool about it. As long as you could play, they were cool about having a different look.
So did BYU ever give you crap about having a different look like that?
No. BYU was very supportive, and again, I mean, you got to maybe your game's got to match your style.
But I guess it helped that you were Mountain West Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year and first team All Mountain West.
It helps to play well, for sure.
So you were drafted in the same class as LeBron and Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade.
Correct.
And so do you feel old watching those guys kind of get towards the end of their NBA careers now, or you still feel young watching LeBron, where it seems like he's just still in his prime?
No, they're incredible athletes. We all went to rookie camp together, actually roomed with Luke Walton, good friends, and it's been fun to see their success. Phenomenal players, it seems like great people too. But I think 2003 draft might be the best ever in history, and it's cool to be a part of that. It was great to get to know everybody at rookie camp and throughout our NBA, but again, man, those guys are beasts. I can't believe they're still playing. I just can't believe it.
Did you ever feel because you ended up playing until 2011 over in Spain and Russia? How difficult is it on the body to be playing that many games? Do you feel it now, or do you feel that made you healthier where you are now today?
It depends on your body, right? So some people, as long as you can get through and get lucky with no injuries. I didn't have any injuries. I played basically my whole career, 8 years in playing professional ball until I blew my Achilles out. After I blew my Achilles out, the recovery was pretty tough to come back, and then I blew my back out and had a discectomy with my L4, L5. But after those 2 injuries, it's a lot harder to recover. You're older. Surgery is hard, no matter what it is. Nerve endings, all these different things, right? And so they've been just remarkably blessed not to have any major injuries or major surgeries. Yeah,
it makes sense. I was playing softball last night, and also my rib just started hurting for no reason.
Because you're old, man.
I know. I'm an old man now. It was I was, for the first time, I'm geez, I've hit that age where I'm really old. So it is what it is.
Join the club.
Injuries,
what's the quote? The days are long, but the years are short. I felt like that many times in Russia, and I feel like that now. Seeing my kids, I got a 15-year-old, 3 more years he'll be on a mission. I can't believe how fast it goes.
Wow, you have a 15-year-old.
Yep.
Holy smokes. Yeah, you are making me feel older now. Well, after you get drafted by the Hawks, played 1 year in the NBA, how did you decide where to play after that season with the Hawks? Walk us through a little bit of the decision-making in that time frame in your life.
So, worked out for 21 teams out of the 28. We did it in about 60 days, signed with Bill Duffy. He was my agent. He had Carmelo, Steve Nash, Yao Ming at the time, and we signed with the Atlanta Hawks. And it was just a phenomenal time. Jason Terry, Steven Jackson, Rasheed Wallace, Bob Sura, Theo Ratliff, Sharif Abdurrahim. That was part of the team.
It's a fun team.
And good people. Terry Stotts was our head coach, who now coaches for the Trailblazers. And what happened was Ted Turner sold the franchise to a local group. After that, they fired the GM and the head coach. And it was really tough to be part of an organization that was going through so much instability at that time. And so my agent called me and said, "You have a great team in Spain. If you want to go." I still had another year contract with Atlanta, so they had to buy me out. And ended up going to Spain because I was going to play with Thiago Splitter, Luis Scola, Andres Nocioni, Pablo Prigioni, and Casey Jacobson. And, ended up going and ended up being a great decision. We probably played about 70 games and won about 64.
Oh, wow.
We had an incredible team over there, and the lifestyle was better, less travel, just as much or more money, and I was surprised by how much fun we had over there.
What was your favorite part about playing in Spain? Because you spoke Spanish too, right?
I did, yeah.
So you kind of had that advantage with the local audience.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, they were shocked that I knew Spanish, all my teammates, but our coach didn't speak English, and all he did was speak Spanish, and phenomenal time. Great basketball, incredible fundamentals, incredible people, a very family, kind of brothers-sisters oriented organization, and we won a lot, which helped.
Did you ever go run with the Bulls when you were over in Spain?
No Pamplona, no. I don't think our contract allowed us to do that. Scola would have done it. Scola's crazy.
I went and did that I went and did it in 2005.
Cool.
I got a picture of this dude right behind me getting flipped upside down by a bull, but I was a little crazier back in those
That's
days.
awesome.
Yeah. So that was my only time I've been to Spain, but I need to definitely get back. So you also had something's kind of funny or some kind of cool about your career is that you played in Russia and they really took to you there in Russia as well. I think everywhere you went, that was kind of the theme is the fans really fell in love with you and who you were. But in Russia, you ended up getting Russian citizenship given from Putin, right? Or
Correct.
so tell us a little bit how that came about.
Ended up going to Russia, played on a phenomenal team. We won a lot of games and ended up winning the Euro Cup and the GM, so the Jazz are owned by Larry H. Miller, right? The Lakers are owned by Jerry Buss. My team, Dynamo in Moscow, Russia, they were owned by the KGB, the FSB. And so they don't have an individual wealthy owner. They actually are owned by the government. So it'd be like the CIA
Owning
a team. Correct. And so our head of Dynamo was Viktor Ivanov, which is the head of the FSB or KGB, former KGB. And so we didn't have any problem with funding. We didn't have any problem with travel. We traveled on his plane, which is the defense minister's plane. And it was just a great time. They treated me really well. We won a lot of games. And at some point they approached us and said, we want you to play on the national team. The national team coach was David Blatt. He was our head coach at the time. And
You're the coach of the Cavs with LeBron.
Yep, and we just became really good friends, and so they approached us. They really liked what we were doing. We had started our foundation, and we're helping a local orphanage about 45 minutes outside of Moscow in Lubirtsy. And it was an honor. Obviously I said, well, I don't have to give up my American passport. And he said, no, this is just something we'd like to do for you. And we usually do it for nuclear scientists or someone that actually did something. So it was fun. It was cool that they gave it to us, and it was a great honor to be part of it.
So to this day, do you have a Russian passport?
I do, yep.
And you can use that to travel as well as your American one?
Yeah, and it's actually my name on my Russian passport is actually Trevis, so Trevis, and then Hansen. The H is silent in Russian, so they had to put a K before the H.
That's why so many names probably have a K then
Yep.
in Russian. And very, very interesting.
Yeah, no smiling in your passport there. You have to. There's no smiling allowed in Russia when you do
So I think Americans have this idea of Russia, just this cold concrete walls place. Give us a couple of your favorite things about Russia. Give maybe a different view of what Russia was like.
Well, it's cold and there's a lot of concrete, and it's the people are great. They want to be happy. They want just like what we want in life. They want a job and to feel needed and wanted. And nothing's more important than your wife and kids, and they want to be happy. They're just phenomenal people. Societal and also political and culture differences are large and extreme. Mostly because historically they've dealt with some really nasty, hard things.
Sure. And
so they're a little bit cold. But when you get in their homes, they're awesome and they're funny and they're cool and they're just really incredible people. And so we learned to love them. We learned that it's a beautiful place, and we learned to appreciate Utah as well.
Yeah, I bet.
And America.
That's one of the favorite things. I've been to over 50 countries now. My favorite thing about traveling is you kind of get an appreciation for these other places, but then you also seem to get a better appreciation for where you currently are as well.
Yep.
When you were playing over in Spain and Russia, did you get to go visit a bunch of other countries as well, or do you mostly stay in those areas?
Yeah, so when you play over there, you're a part of a domestic league, which, let's say I'm playing in Spain, so I played against 12 different teams in Spain once or twice a week. And then the next week I play in an international, which is the Euro League. It's the top 25 teams in all of Europe. And so every other week I would travel to Italy, Greece, Russia, Spain, Prague, wherever it was. So yeah, every other week I traveled for about 10 years.
Wow, what a cool opportunity to... And the European League, correct me if I'm wrong, I was talking to Jimmy Fredette about this, why he chose China, because it's a much shorter season. It's a pretty long season, the European League. Don't you play for 8-9 months at a time per season?
Yep, and always depending on how you did in the season, but the regular season would end similar time as the NBA, about end of April. Then playoffs would start and playoffs get long. And so we, because we were on a winning team, I was never home before probably the end of July. And then I'd be home August, and then I'd be back in September. So I typically only was here in America about 40 days.
Okay. And back up, I kind of skipped over this part of your story, but when you were at BYU, because you played at UVU first,
correct?
You're very unique in the sense you played at both UVU and BYU, but how did you make the decision to move over to BYU, and what was the process of recruiting you to BYU? What was that scenario?
So I got hit up by a lot of universities and recruited by Indiana, Cal Berkeley, BYU, Utah, Pepperdine, Arizona. And so I think one of my favorite ones was Cal Berkeley, coming out of high school. But my mom, when I was 18 years old, we found out she was sick, and then she kept getting sicker, and eventually she got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passed away. And that timeline was about 4 months, and it was really, really hard on our family. My dad was a local bishop, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He had to get released. They don't allow bishops that aren't married. And my brother was on a mission in Japan, flew home for the funeral, went back. And so I stayed close to home. I ended up going to UVU to be with my family. BYU was 1 in 25 at the time. So the last place I was going was BYU. I was more looking for Utah. I really liked Coach Majerus at the time, and they were recruiting me pretty hard. But when I got back from my mission, because my mom, the last thing she told me was to go on a mission. And I don't know if I had decided whether I was going to go on a mission before she told me that. But 4 months after she passed away, I went and served in Santiago, Chile, which was just an incredible opportunity. Very few opportunities in life you get to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ 24/7. Incredible. Came back, and half my staff at UVU was at BYU. Coach Rose, who's the first guy to ever offer me a scholarship when he was at Dixie, was an assistant coach. We were really good friends. And so things had, the culture, atmosphere, the vision had totally changed at BYU, and I ended up signing there.
Oh, very cool. That's it. So if you hadn't gone on a mission, you probably would have ended up at Utah, because you wouldn't have had those 2 years for BYU to get a little bit better in the program.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably would have ended up at Utah or a Pac-12 school.
Okay, very cool. Well, after your playing days were done, I mean, you finished up, you were married, you had, 4 kids already at that point? Or how many did you have at the time in 2011 when you finished?
3 kids.
3 kids.
Yeah.
So you made good money overseas. How did you decide what to do next? I mean, a lot of people would have just kind of cashed in their chips and taken it easy, but you instead have set up this business conglomerate now, Tesani, where you own several businesses, and you've really created a whole second career, basically.
Yeah, I think it's just really hard when you play professional sports. With most athletes, they think about most days, what am I going to do when I'm finished? And you read books, you talk to people, you talk to mentors, and you really don't know. And so the day came, inevitably, that you're too old to play, or you're too tired, or that doesn't work with your family. And so the day ended. I didn't know what to do. Sheri from Deseret Book called and asked me to write a book, and that took about 5 years off my life, but only about 6 months. And it was a phenomenal opportunity. He wrote a book.
And what's the name of that book for our audience?
Next few years will change your life.
And what's the premise of the book?
The book is focused on youth, making good decisions, going through hard things. There are a lot of different times in my life where things could have went different ways, and how we all have challenges and trials, but we got to fight. And wrote a book, and it was published in 2011 or 2012. And then I decided, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And one of the greatest things that ever happened is I had an incredible dad that had been in business and He started Hansen Insulation, a local company, and was successful. He sold it. And then also Blake Roney, who was the CEO and founder of Nu Skin, and just a phenomenal person. And both, together, the combination of both of them, I remember going to Nu Skin. Blake's calls me out of nowhere. I'm driving down State Street. Calls me. This is Blake Roney. I'm on my houseboat at Lake Powell. I'm like, okay, what do you want? I don't need any lotion. What do you want? And he said, come meet with me. I think your foundation is pretty cool. We're interested in what you guys are doing. He ended up helping us with an orphanage and a children's hospital in Russia. And then he said, what are you going to do with your life? And I'm like, I don't know. And he said, I think nonprofits are super charitable, but I think business could be the most charitable thing you can do with your life. Everyone needs to feel needed, wanted, they need a job, and the resources you can do. And I was just very inspired by it and dove pretty deep. I really took to Blake pretty quickly. The way we met was I went in to meet Blake Roney. I said, go up to the 20th floor, wherever it's at.
Sure.
I said, I'm here to meet Blake. She says, who are you? I'm Travis Hansen. Oh, okay, go right in. So I walk into his big office, oversees all of Provo, and he's not there. So I walk back out to the secretary, I say, he's not there. She's like, oh, you have to find him. So I walk in, I'm like, he's a billionaire, what's wrong with this guy? I walk in, and he's hiding under his desk, laughing, watching his laptop. And he goes, oh, you found me, what's up, man, how are you doing? I'm like, I like this guy already.
Yeah.
So he puts his laptop on his desk, and we start to watch these comedic, funny YouTube videos. And
I'm just picturing Michael Scott,
exactly. It's awkward, and you're like, oh, I love this dude.
Yeah.
And he's just a great mentor. He's been very friendly, incredibly smart, and nothing's more important than his wife and kids. He's very gospel-centered, and it's someone I look up to. And so we still go to lunch all the time, and he's helped me really figure out what businesses to start, how to start them, and the different challenges you're going to have, and that's basically how I got my start into business.
Oh wow, okay, that's kind of a cool mentor to have, one of the legends that you could say of Utah County.
Yeah, incredible person. So eventually, we started a nonprofit first. We were in Russia at the time.
What's the name of your charity?
Sunshine Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was volunteering at orphanages. And it came about from, we wanted a big family. Larry and I, my sweet wife, we both came from large families, 5 and 6 siblings, and we had infertility problems. And our first child came quick, and then we had a 5-year gap that we tried almost everything. Eventually, she did become pregnant, and now we're at 5 total.
5 total.
Adopted one little awesome, beautiful girl who's half white, half black from Indiana, and we're just so happy, so thrilled, but you just can't connect the dots going forward. You have to connect them going backwards. And one of the things was she wanted to start a foundation. From dealing with the infertility, not being home, being thousands or millions of miles away from family and friends in Russia, she said, I'm here for bigger reasons than basketball. And she went and started volunteering at orphanages. And we found out that there's 600,000 orphans in the world, or just in Russia, and they're all deemed their parents are deemed unfit.
600,000 just in Russia?
Just in Russia.
Wow.
Because their parents are deemed unfit because of alcohol and drugs. And they don't have foster care in Russia like we do in America. And so the kids are just sent to hospitals or orphanages.
Wow.
And they kind of just waste away. It's really frustrating and sad, and it's a broken system. And so she went and started volunteering at an orphanage. We decided we needed to do something. We needed to start a foundation, and went to lunch in Bahio. During those 40 days I was here in the summer, some guy said, hey, I read you're starting a foundation. You should partner with us. We're Nature Sunshine Products. Fast forward 10 years, we have a vitamin line together. We are their philanthropic arm, you could say, or their foundation. They run all the funds through us, and it's been just an incredible partnership. We've built now 10 children's centers around the world, and it's been really, really fun. So based on that foundation of Tesani, which is a nonprofit, we have built companies that continue to give back and continue to do good things. Tech, finance, and real estate is where our focuses have been.
Yeah, you have an interesting model because the overall is it is a charitable arm, but you have companies inside of it growing, making money so that you can give more to the charity? Is that why you did it that way?
That's one of the reasons, and the other reasons I honestly believe that, just like Blake, business is one of the most charitable things you can do with your time and efforts.
Yeah. Well, so Tesani, give us an idea. So you're here, it's 2012, you just met with Blake. I mean, what industry how'd you decide where you were going to put your focus and attention? Was there a process, or did you just kind of start looking for opportunities, or did something kind of present itself to you?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people go through what you went through, where they're not really sure, like, all right, I want to do something different with my life. I need to do something different, new chapter. Either they finished an old chapter, or they just aren't completely happy where they are. So I think there's a lot of value in watching what you've been able to do the last 6 years. And so I guess that's why, that question to me is such a relevant one in your case.
Yeah, I mean, our story is basically, we wanted to do good, so we started a foundation. After that, we wanted to maintain what the money we had made, and we did not want to go bankrupt. You watch 130-30 on Antoine Walker, somebody's lost $100 million. Like, okay, I got to figure out how not to do that. And after researching a lot about investing in stocks, it came down to real estate is probably the best investment you can make if you have any money. It's a real asset. It's not going anywhere. So we got heavily involved in multi-family real estate. After getting involved in a ton of different developments and buying properties, again meeting with Blake, he was buying a bank at the time. We started looking at lending and found out that there's just a huge gap. Banks can help a certain demographic, especially like 0 to 36%. But after that, or business owners don't have W-2s. There's all kind of just weird regulation that banks deal with, and there's also a lot of different surveys that come out that 71% of people love their dentist more than their banker. So there's a huge gap of people that just don't or can't or don't want to use banks. So we started a lending arm called Lift Credit. We hated payday loans. Payday loans charge like 800%. And so we saw a gap between 36% and 100 to 200% of these people that usually go to hard money or usually go to payday loans, that we could build a product for them. Our Lyft is now 10 million revenue, 30 employees in Utah, Idaho, and Wisconsin, and doing really well and continues to scale. Next, we looked into product. I'm really good friends with Jeff Curl from Stance. We actually lived next to each other when we first married.
How cool.
And we spent a lot of time together in analyzing luggage and analyzing what it takes to make a product company. It needs to be sleepy, it needs to be flywheel, it needs to have high margins, low returns. And we almost started a product company. And in pursuit of that, about a 7-month analysis, I had a chance meeting with Fraser Bullock, who said, "What are you looking at doing next? How are you doing?" And he said, "You should do SaaS." I said, "SaaS, software as a service?" He said, "Yes." So that led me into another long analysis of SaaS. And the combination of the two was really interesting, because Jeff had taught me really what to look for and how to build a product company. Sleepy, flywheel, high margins, low return, and boring. A really boring space. So there was nothing more boring than HR. HR is what every entrepreneur deals with last. They never hire an HR specialist. They don't even want to deal with it. And so Eddy, EDDY.com is launching next month. We've been at it about a year and a half. We have a phenomenal team. It's just taken me about a year and a half to recruit people to want to work here. You're a basketball player. What do you know about SaaS? And our CTO is Greg Burgess, 14 years at Ancestry, and in the last few years at Instructure. Our Chief Product Officer spent 14 years at Ancestry too, Kenny Freestone. Just an incredible team. And we're taking on the hiring, recruiting, and HR space. And we're going to do it in Stance style and see how we do.
Dude, I love that. So how many total employees are under the umbrella of the businesses that you're currently managing?
We're just over 100, probably about 111 right now.
That's great. I love what you say is how, starting a business can be one of the most charitable things you can do, because that's 100 people. And you don't know this necessarily, but I taught a class at UVU last year, and one of the girls in my class, she mentioned that she worked here at Tesani, and we had to give a report about a company. It was a class where you give presentations, and she did her presentation on Tesani, your company, and she just could not rave enough about how amazing it was to work here. And so where you know, I'm sure you see it every day in the lives of your employees, but for somebody from an outside perspective, it was really cool. It was actually what got me looking more into what exactly you were doing over here, because she was just raving about it. So that's really cool that, you know, those chance meetings you had led you to build something that's touching as many lives as it is.
That's awesome. That makes us feel good. We hope, you know, everyone we meet, you know, we always say we want to make them feel like $1 million without having to give them too much, you know. But it's important to us, and we've been able to attract. We call them PLUs, people like us, and we've been able to attract that type of person. A PLU to us, you wouldn't be able to put them in a police lineup and describe them or look at them or find them. But they're genuinely kind people. They're driven to succeed at any responsibility given, and they're just raw intellectual talent with some common sense.
Wow.
We find those three, and we're able to recruit them, build them, take care of them. The coolest thing about business, I think, is not just the problem solving, not just the perseverance and the hard work and the grind and all these things. You kind of find that in sports too. I think there are two things. I think it's building a team. Just like a championship team, you got to have some veterans, you got to have some mid-level guys, and then you got to get lucky, draft Donovan Mitchell, right? and I think the same thing in business. You got to be relentless at recruiting and building your team. And then once you have them, you have to genuinely care about them. That's really hard to do. You can't blanket policy and say, you know, bonuses for everybody, you should all be happy, right? You know, gift cards, fine, be happy. You genuinely have to get to know them on a personal level. One of the things we've added, we've copied Stance, and Jeff Curl is a personal chef. And in this community in Provo, Utah, we love to eat. And one of the things we love to eat together, and we're so much more productive. We did analysis on it, and our employees get hungry at 11. By 12, they're angry. By 12:30, they probably went. It's kind of clicky. Who's going with who? Where are you going? Is it fast food? Now you're 1. They had to stand in line and eat fast food. By 1:30, you know, you're back at your desk and wondering why I ate what I just ate. And so you lose so much productivity. Now everyone eats at 12. The food's always ready. And by 12:30, 12:45, they're back at their desk. Number one. Number two, our chef is the kindest. It's like a mom. And she knows if you're gluten-free, if you're vegan. She knows if you're going to be late. She prepares a plate on the side. And just does an incredible job caring for everyone and preparing delicious, healthy meals. But also, she is a mom, and she's a grandma now, and she didn't, you know, necessarily want to be a chef and didn't want to work here. And she came because her niece worked here. She owned a pie shop in Idaho and went through some hard times, so she decided to come start working here. And she said, I'll give it 6 months. But through that 6 months, I genuinely got to know her. And it was so fun because I said, we can't lose you. Like, we had you. You're a part of our brand, our culture. You love everyone. Everyone loves to work here, and it's so much more productive. I love to work here. I love to eat here. And she said, well, it's not just the pay. I really want to travel. I've never been on a plane before. And so one thing we did for Mindy is not only paid her salary and bonuses and take care of her, is we give her $5,000 a year. And so that $5,000 a year, she can go anywhere she wants. So the first year she went on a cruise to her whole family, first time they've ever been on a plane, right? Second year she goes to Hawaii with her husband, comes back, she's all tanned out, I see her in the kitchen, she starts to cry. I said, man, why are you crying? She said, just give me a hug. I gave her a hug. She said, I never had a honeymoon. And that's something that she would never have told me, maybe ever, had you not genuinely took some time to get to know the people that you work with and take care of them. And it's one example of how to build a culture. I've learned from Blake and Fraser and Jeff Curl and many great people. And it's been a phenomenal opportunity, not just to be a boss or CEO, but to have these people impact my life as well for much good.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's what a cool opportunity to not have to do anything, but have the opportunity to bless lives, and to be able to see just one story and like what that meant to her was more than any monetary bonus or something. You were able to do it in a way that touched her and gave her an opportunity and experience in her life that she might not have ever had in her entire life.
Yep, absolutely. And we love her, and she's amazing. She's changed our life.
Well, being a boss, you have an opportunity, especially here in a college town. interview and hire a lot of millennials, a lot of younger people, a lot of people out of college. Give us a couple things that you would recommend. What kind of things, what kind of advice would you give to people that are just getting out of college, looking for an opportunity in a career? What kind of advice would you give to them in those moments?
Oh man, I took over BYU's Instagram a few months ago.
Okay.
And I literally got bombarded with students afterwards saying, "Can I meet with you? Can I pick your brain?" They'd come in, and we had like 80 of them come in, and most of them had picked a degree, or graduated, or graduating, and they really had no idea what to do with their life, which is, I think, is just pretty normal. And the first thing you do is normalize it. Like, it's normal that you have anxiety and you don't know what to do with your life. We all do. Okay. Number two, stop trying to find a job. Find a boss. Everyone looks for a job. They go to Indeed and the Indeed app and they scroll. It's just painful. It's like, ugh. They literally do all these job templates that are like copy and pasted from the next guy over. And that's one of the things we're trying to disrupt in Eddy is, who do I work for? What does my desk look like? What does my boss look like? What is the benefits? Who am I going to work with coworker-wise? What's the culture like? Like, can I see some real transparency into your company? So I would look for a boss. I look for a mentor. I look for someone that's going to push you, someone that's going to give you opportunities to grow, and then someone that's probably going to genuinely, hopefully, care about you. One of the hardest things to do in business is to find an incredible leader. It's really hard to find. I've had average coaches, or bad. I don't want to call them bad, but they're pretty bad.
Yeah, sure.
I'll also call them average. I've had good coaches, and I've had a few great ones. And I promise you, the only difference between the great ones and the good ones, they all knew X and O's. They're all good at the tactics and the inspiration, the motivation, and all these different things. You have to have all the skills. The great ones cared about me. They genuinely cared about me and my family.
Do you have an example or two of something maybe one of them did that just let you know, like, that they cared?
Yeah, I'll give you two examples. One bad, one good. One was I tore my Achilles and came home to Utah, rehabbed, and I was back in 5 months. Wow. Which I think's good turnaround. Apparently this guy didn't, you know. And so I go back to Russia, and I play for a guy named Pesic. He coached Barcelona, he coached the Serbian national team when they beat the US, famous coach. He walks in, I've never met him before. He walks in and he says, "Travis Hansen." I said, "Well, yeah, what's up?" He said, "Your face is fat. You have 2 kilos too much on your face," which is, for all the listeners, about 4.4 pounds too fat. Fire all your coaches and all your trainers and all your doctors back home in Utah. Fire them all. And I'm like, gosh, I hate this guy. Like, I'm going to play for this guy all year. And I played for him, and I played well. I mean, he that first game, he didn't start me, came off, scored like 25 points off the bench. And I told him, like, if you need to win games, like, your job's win games. I know how to win games, so you play me. And I didn't say it in the nicest language, probably. Yeah. In comparison to Pesic to Dusko, I had a coach named Dusan Ivanovic. Old general, 70 years old, white hair, a little bit bigger ears, Serbian. First time I ever met him, signed with Dinamo. He came up to me and grabbed me, gave me 2 kisses, one on each cheek. He said, "I love you, love watching you play. Can't wait to watch you. I can't wait to coach you. One of the best players I've ever seen." This guy over here, that center that you see shooting over there, his name's Lazaros Papadopoulos from Greece, the best center in all of Europe. I saw how he talked about the other players. It got me excited, but he cared about me. Ryder had, I think, his 4th birthday. He knew about it, bought some Lego sets, and brought them over to our house. So it's like these little things. It's the first time you ever meet someone. First time I ever met Luis Scola, one of the best players, signed 50 million at Houston Rockets, total stud.
Yeah.
Captain, probably making 4 million euros at the time with our team in Spain. Came up to me and said, "Travis Hansen, dude, you let me know anything you need. I got you. Anything you need. Anybody messes with you? You need any food? You need a place to stay? Whatever you need." After every game, we go out to eat. The whole team would go, and it's because of Scola. He was a leader, and he genuinely cared about everyone he was around. And so again, these students at BYU, UVU, I would not focus on a job. I'd focus on a boss. It's really hard to find, but I wouldn't stop until I found one.
That's the great advice. Like, what perfect advice. I know with myself, I had to have a similar experience when I was a missionary in Mexico. My first mission president, love him, he was more of an Army general. And about 9 months in, but he was great. 9 months in, we got a new president. Everyone was pretty nervous. You're like, how's this guy going to be? Is it going to be as good as the last one? We really liked him. And the first time I met him, I went up to him, and he didn't know me or anything. He's like, Elder Rex. Before he even could see like my name tag, he already knew who I was, and he said, happy birthday next Wednesday. I mean, there was 100 of us missionaries there. He knew that next Wednesday was my birthday. I just remember thinking like, okay, well, he's at least trying to care about me, whether he doesn't. And I ended up, as I got to know him more and more, I mean, that guy cared more about me as a human, or as much as anyone I've ever met. I just felt that, and I would have ran through a wall for that guy. And it would started the second I first met him, just by caring and knowing those little details about me made all the difference for how I worked for him for 15 months.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, someone asked me one time, when was the moment you knew you loved your wife? And I'm like, wow, well, I was driving down to UVU and I was going to park and she was walking in the Institute building. She had a tan skirt, blue top, and tan legs, blonde hair. And I was like, whew, double take, who's that? And then I ran into her a couple different times. But I don't know. I don't know when was the exact moment. And he says, that's like being a leader and having a family. And you don't want them to just be a family. You want them to be brothers and sisters. You don't want to just be your leader to be a leader. You want them to kind of be a dad figure. And how do you love people? Like, how do you build that type of culture? And it's the same way that you find out how much you love your wife. And it's these little different things every single day, consistently over years. It's watching her care for your kids. It's her caring for you. It's doing the dishes and doing the laundry and spending time together. And it's just not one moment. The same testimony of, a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have a strong testimony, but when did that come? At some point, or it was over consistent effort trying to go to church and trying to better myself over a long period of time. And that's how you become a great boss. That's how you become a great leader. It's these little continuous, efforts, not just your employees, but everyone you work with and everybody you meet, to better their lives. And you don't have to do one big thing. It's these little tiny things you have to do. And then they start to trust you. Then they start to love you. And then they'll run through a wall, or run through anything for you. And it takes time and effort, but we need more of it.
Wow, no, that's great advice. Well, you have so many cool things going on, especially with your charity and some of that stuff. How can somebody get involved? They're listening to this, they're inspired by what you've done with the Sunshine Heroes. What would be the next step for somebody that wanted to help you guys out?
Go to Eddy.com. Eddy.com is our new software. We're so excited about it. We're going to disrupt the applicant tracking, recruiting, hiring. If you're a small business owner, like, you have to have a careers portal. You have to have a great experience. We have too many people that are applying for jobs that never get any responses, that no one ever tells them yes, no, maybe, your whole experience behind your brand. We're going to help you become better. Most small businesses, or almost all of them, they don't need an HR specialist. Mm-hmm. They really don't at some point. And typically the CEO or the secretary and the admin are playing that role, and it's not fair. So Eddy's role is to become the expert for you. Eddy's role is to do all the manual entries and inputs, and be your virtual filing cabinet. We'll do everything for you. So Eddy.com is our new company. We're super excited about it. If anything humanitarian, we'd say just do good. You're welcome to come to spreadsunshine.org and see our humanitarian missions and where we're going next. But really, just go do some good outside.
I love it, man. Well, thanks so much. It was a pleasure to sit down with you. And again, you gave me a lot of entertainment back in the day. So at least I can do is
my guy. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Rex. I appreciate you letting me be on the show.
Of course, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.